Nofap soldiers, welcome back to day 9 of the Nofap Academy. This is Nofap 101. I am Captain Nofap, aka Swamiji Nofap. Soldiers, I had the great pleasure of being able to speak to you today about yet another one of those so-called powers that you get as you travel up the path. Just quickly, I don't really like you calling them powers because they're not really powers. They're just abilities that you've had all the time. You have always been able to access this ability, but you just weren't. The one we're going to discuss today is one called the flow state. Oftentimes you hear people travel the Nofap path or giving their testimonials. They say, oh, I just felt more focused. I just had more attention and more creativity. I felt like time was flying by. I felt more in alignment and all these different things. What they're actually describing is the flow state, because the flow state can be characterized by having a blank mind, an empty mind, sometimes feeling so good, but yet so in the moment, you were too in the moment to realize how good you were feeling. That is flow state. You feel in alignment. You feel that you have this amazing focus. Sometimes it comes about from an activity, such as sports, if you like to play sports. Sometimes it comes from an activity, you might be dancing. You don't realize you've been dancing for hours. It could be poetry. It could be any activity. It doesn't have to be an activity because the truth is, it is just a feeling. But we'll come back to that. You have the ability to access this flow state. And the further up the path you go, the easier it becomes for you to access this flow state. Some of the things that come about from you accessing this flow state are extreme productivity, operating at genius level ability for long periods of time, seemingly being unaffected by a lack of sleep because you're so focused on the task at hand, rapid progress towards the manifestation of your desires. Think about it in work terms, rapid promotions. You'll be operating at such a high level of productivity, at such a great level of focus, because remember, as I said in the day 8 video, you learn as you travel up the path that your superpower is focus. Other people will actually be referring to you as, oh, you're Superman. They'll be thinking you're Superman. Please don't get into that. It's not that you have superpowers. It's not that you are Superman. What it is, unfortunately, is that they are subman. They are less than a man, because a man has lively seeds inside of him. Lively seeds are fully developed and fully mature sperm. Sperm cells mature after between the 64th and 74th day. If you don't have a flourishing garden inside of you, I'm sorry, you're subman. You're a male. And so when you're just becoming a regular man, just using the abilities you have all the time, that you've always had, when you're surrounded by these submen, you seem like a Superman. But always remember, it's not you, it's an ability that everybody has available to them. It's just that you're traveling the path. Sometimes people try to artificially access this flow state by waiting to the last minute. You ever do that in school? You had a paper to write and you wait to the last minute because you really, I just can't get focused. I can't concentrate. But now that there's 12 hours left, all your attention is focused on the task at hand. That's artificially trying to access that flow state. But always remember, a lot of people travel the path and they don't know that they can access it at any time. They feel themselves and they feel more in alignment. They feel more in flow. But they never go far enough down the path to actually realize that they can access it at the same time. They've experienced it, but they don't have the education. That's why you come to Mount Nofap, as I said, with education and experience. When the two mix together, you conquer Mount Nofap. Now, I also want to tell you that it's been called the flow state. But think about it, flow state. People sit around, they call it the flow state, but let's really break down what it is. Flow, what flows? Waves. So to better help you understand the flow state, start to think in terms of energy and vibration. An easy, tangible way for our finite minds to, and our quite visual, physical minds, as we think with the senses and what have we, it is easy for us to latch on to waves. So think about waves. Think about yourself as a wave for a moment. You have to do something, right? And you are a major wave with a certain vibration. But sometimes you get these little ripples inside of your wave. And that takes your focus and your attention away. It takes some of the power away from the vibration of the big wave because you have all these little waves. But when you access the flow state, all those little waves that would have been making noise, diverting the big wave from its pattern, start to come in alignment. And as you become more in alignment, the overall wave, the vibration that's in, becomes stronger. That's how the flow state starts to work. But what you also have to understand, now that you understand that little bit of basic right there, is you have to understand that there's a macro flow and a micro flow. What I mean by that is, the more you start to access the flow state for brief moments here, brief moments there, up to a period of hours, if you start to really get into the flow, what's going to happen is that you're causing little ripples more often, more frequently. You're causing that vibration of that flow state to occur until eventually, that's the micro. Your macro wave starts to change. Your overall vibration starts to change because you've been touching that flow so much that eventually your whole paradigm changes. And that's when your life improves dramatically. I'll talk to you about how you can do that in the next video.